Skyrim is notorious for having a lot of different versions and being released on a ton of different platforms. One day, being as lame as I am, I was thinking about Skyrim, a game I have never beaten and have no plans to ever play again, and wondered to myself, if someone were to purchase every single version of Skyrim on release, but only on one platform for each version, first, why? And second, how much would that have cost them? So what I've done for today's video is I've put together a bit of a story. It's about a Skyrim fan who purchased every single version of Skyrim, as well as every DLC, on release. By the end of the story, you will realize two things. That our Skyrim fan is a little dumb, but we'll get to that. And more importantly, Todd Howard really likes money. Specifically, having yours.
Hey, you. You're finally awake.
Sorry, I had to. Anyway, our story begins nearly 14 years ago, in the long-forgotten year of 2011. Imagine, if you would, a child. There are only two things that matter about this child. One, they are 12 years old. Trust me, that will be important. And two, they quite like Skyrim. They just don't know it yet. It's the 11th of November, and the game has just released. Now, for some reason, it can be a birthday, it can be a holiday, it does not matter, but for some reason, this child's parents have purchased them a brand new game, The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, for the Xbox 360, and it will end up being a horrible financial choice for their child's future. It only cost them $60 for now, but that is just the beginning. The child loves this game. They play it almost religiously for the next 7 months, when, what's this? It is now June 26th, 2012, and there's an expansion. It is called Dawnguard, and in it you can become and/or hunt vampires. But, more importantly for us, it costs $20. So far, $80 spent on Skyrim. Another 3 months go by, vampires have been killed and/or joined, and now it is September of the same year, which brings along with it a new, albeit smaller, expansion for Skyrim. Called Hearthfire, this expansion allows for home construction, and it only costs $5, which brings our total up to $85. So come the end of the year, it's December, and another large expansion is released. This one is titled Dragonborn. This expansion explores an area, and has you fighting some guys. Listen, I told you I never beat the game, and apparently I haven't played this expansion either. Couldn't think of anything when I tried to remember it, but our fictional child, who I can guarantee someone watching this has already forgotten about, has played it, which means that the $20 price tag gets added to our total and brings us to $105. But then, half a year later, tragedy strikes. On June 4th, 2013, the child's Xbox, which has explored so much of Skyrim with them, experiences the worst fate an Xbox can suffer. The Red Ring of Death. But all is not lost. I mean, technically, yeah, all that progress and their saves, gone, lost, for sure. But a new version of Skyrim has just released. Dubbed Legendary Edition, this version comes with the 3 previous released expansions, and the teenager, they got mad at me for calling them a child when they're 14, decides that this is the perfect time to switch consoles and picks up a copy of Skyrim Legendary Edition, as well as a PS3 to play it on. Now, since we're not including console prices in our tally, the $60 for this new version of Skyrim is the only edition, and the teenager, has now spent, or had spent for them, $165 on Skyrim. So now, fast forward 3 years into the future. It is October 2016, and the original save file has been faithfully recreated on Legendary Edition. But it's time for an upgrade. The teenager is 17 years old now, and with the forward-thinking skills of your average 17-year-old, along with the release of a new version of Skyrim, they decide to purchase a PC to play it on. This new version, called Special Edition, is similar to Legendary Edition content-wise, but comes with enhanced graphics and an updated game engine. And since, once again, we are not counting the console price, or in this case, the PC price, this only adds another $60 to our Skyrim spending sum, which crosses us over the $200 mark, and we land at $225. Alright, let's take a little break from the story, it's barely a story anyway, and talk Creation Club. The Creation Club is a set of paid add-ons that were released over a long span of time, and instead of being directly purchasable, instead you have to first buy credits, which can then be used to buy the add-ons. This has the potential to get very confusing, especially with the bundles and sales, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the base price of every add-on, total them all up as if they were all released at the same time, They never go on sale, and there are no bundles. I will then find the cheapest way to purchase the required credits, since larger bundles cost more money, but you spend less per credit. There can be different permutations. And I will add that number to the current total of $225. Okay? Let's get started. There are 74 different creations in the Creation Club that cost anywhere from 50 to 1,500 credits. Some of them are now free, some of them are now discounted. Maybe they always were, but we agreed that I would be using the base price with no discounts, and free is just a 100% discount since they have a price listed. Totaling all of those costs together gets us a grand total of 24,650 credits required to obtain every creation. Now, when it comes to buying credits, you get 100 for free by signing up to the Creation Club, and the remainder can be purchased in increments of 750 for $7.99, 1,500 for $14.99, 3,000 for $24.99, and 5,500 for $39.99. These prices are all in USD, by the way. The prices also changed at the end of 2023, but we're using the old prices since even at the latest release of any of these creations, the price for credits is the price I just listed. And now, for Skyrim, there is no reason whatsoever to purchase any more credits. But we'll get to why that is at a later version. With that being the case, we take the original 24,650 credits, subtract the 100 free from the sign-up bonus, and we need to use some combination of our 4 increments to get the remaining 24,550. I'm pretty sure that the cheapest way to get these credits would be to purchase 4 packs of 5,500 and 1 pack of 3,000. I might be wrong, but new Path of Exile update comes out soon, so I'm not going to spend any more time doing math for this video. I mean, except for the rest of the math that I'm going to do for the prices, but I'm not going to do any more Creation Club math. This would cost a total of $184.95, which will be added to our rounded total as $185 and bring it up to $410, nearly doubling the entire cost so far with only Creation Club add-ons. Hey, it's me. While editing this, I found out about this thing called verified creators, which apparently I somehow missed while doing my research on this. And I'm not adding these. I'm not adding these to the price. I already recorded like the rest of the video with all the prices and whatnot as if verified creators didn't exist. I can't imagine that you can't just get all this stuff with mods. And you'll probably have the Bethesda Games stuff, like the old Creator Club stuff, the Creation Club stuff. You'll probably have all that, because most mods these days require Anniversary Edition. But also, like, more of this stuff is getting released every day. Or maybe not every day, but, like, there's stuff that was very recently released, and there's stuff that hasn't even released yet. So I'm going to keep in this part about the base, like, Bethesda creation stuff. But I'm not going to add any of this verified creator stuff. Just know that it's like real... It's a lot. It would end up costing a lot. And the reason I'm not going to add it, well, besides the fact that I'm already done, but like also to justify it another way so that I don't have to do even more work on this. Again, Path of Exile real soon. Is that this isn't stuff made by Bethesda. Which technically you'll see in a bit. There's some other stuff that wasn't like directly made by Bethesda, but Anyway, back to the video. Checking back in with our story's protagonist, it is November of 2017, and they are an adult now. They're heading off to college, and this is where those forward-thinking skills would have been nice, as they can't bring their PC to the college dorms for some reason, so they decide to sell it, and even though it breaks the TOS, they sell their Steam account as well, so that this story can still make sense in a little bit. Luckily for them, portable gaming has never been easier, as they have procured a Nintendo Switch, and spent another $60 buying Skyrim for their new handheld. $470, Todd, and we're not even done. Was it worth it? The year is 2018. I am dropping the story as a framing device, but I will reference it later. Skyrim VR releases on PC, and even though it was already released on PSVR the year prior, they're kind of the same version. With that being said, they do have different release dates. They are for different VR headsets as well. So I had trouble deciding if I should count them both separately or if I should count them as one release. And I decided that from now on, I'll just have two running counts. One will be with both VR versions, and one will be as if you only bought one. They're the same price, so it doesn't matter which one. The single VR total is now $530, and the double VR total is now $590. Next up, we have a very obscure version of Skyrim, which is Skyrim Very Special Edition. This is a skill for the Amazon Alexa, their words, not mine. But it's free. As long as you have an Alexa, which in this case is the console, so the price doesn't matter, it's free, and our total remains the same. This is where I reference the story again, as Anniversary Edition comes in 4 separate forms. 2 upgrades, one for Special Edition and one for the Switch, and 2 standalone editions to complement the upgrades. By the way, Anniversary Edition comes with every Creation Club add-on, and was released at the same time as some of them for every non-Switch platform. Some of the add-ons were released same day. So that's why I said there's no reason to buy credits for Skyrim anymore, and our story's protagonist, long dead, Jamie had to find out this way, is a little bit dumb. Also in the story, this is why the teenager needed to sell their Steam account and their Switch, but again, dropped the entire story wraparound, so that doesn't matter. What I will be doing is adding the upgrade prices for both, which is $20 each, to the single VR price, and adding the standalone prices, which is $50 for the non-Switch and $70 for the Switch versions, to the double VR price, and renaming the categories to the low price and high price. I'm adding both versions of Anniversary Edition, since I already counted Special Edition and Switch version as different versions, and the price difference, along with the gap in release between the two, makes them separate enough in my mind. Calculating this way brings our new low price to $570, and the high price to a grand total of $710 for every version of Skyrim purchased once, but in the worst way possible. Except that's not it. There's also Skyrim the Adventure Game, and Skyrim Pinball, but honestly I'm just ignoring that. If you want to add it to the total, it's $2 for Android and iPhone, and $11 on PC, Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch, so feel free to add any combination of those two to the totals. But back to Skyrim the Adventure Game. This is a crowd-funded board game based in Skyrim that, would you believe it, kind of complicates things a little bit. I'm going to use the backing prices for the numbers since it was a crowdfunding endeavor, and that's what will be added to our totals, which means that both totals need to add $92, which is the base funding tier that allowed you to get a copy of the game. That brings our low price up to $662, and the high price to $802. Except, you remember how I said it complicates things a little bit? Yeah, that's not the only tier. As with most crowdfunding campaigns, there is a second tier, and in this case, it is the gameplay tier that includes all the expansions. And since that is content for Skyrim, similar to the DLCs, it needs to be taken into account. That tier costs $189, meaning that both totals need an additional $97 added on top since we already added that base price. This means that the actual final price is $759 for the low price and $899 for the high price. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised that even the high price stayed under $1,000. Well, except for one last thing. This is actually the last one, I promise. There is one more tier. It's the deluxe tier, which, while not necessarily adding any additional gameplay, it does add more physical media to the board game set, some extra miniatures and some coins. So, I mean, honestly, from me to you, that surprised that the value stayed under $1,000, it's more like disappointed. I really wanted to see that number cross into 4 digits. So, to satisfy my desire for large numbers, I will be adding an additional $108, $297, the price of the deluxe tier, minus the $189 already added for the gameplay tier, to the high price, but not the low price since that one's more of a practical gameplay. Totaling all this up will actually bring our grand total when buying every version of Skyrim in a theoretically possible but extremely dumb and unlikely way to $1,007. This may seem like a lot at first glance, and don't get me wrong, for one game it is, but a good portion of that was the board game, which is a separate version. And also, it was released over the course of 12 years. Skyrim originally released in 2011, and the adventure game, the most recent thing to have released, was in 2023. So it was actually only about $84 a year, which is much more reasonable. A little bit more than a single AAA game. Still, it's really two games. You effectively bought two games. You bought Skyrim and you bought the Skyrim board game for $1,007. Plus more if you ever used multiple platforms for the same versions. You bought Legendary Edition twice, oops, slap another $60 on top of that. But also probably less, because let's be honest, when you're buying Skyrim for the 5th time, you're probably buying it on sale. Hey, thanks for watching my dumb video about Skyrim prices. For anyone wondering, of the potential $1,007 you could spend, again, or more, if you bought the same version on different platforms, I have personally spent less than 1% of that. I have spent $10 on Skyrim. I never bought any of the original editions. I was gifted Special Edition by a friend shortly after it released, and then bought Anniversary Upgrade for 50% off. So I spent $10. And also, no. Making this video did not make me want to go back and finally beat Skyrim. If anything, it did the exact opposite. But, now that all that math is done, it's time for all that YouTube stuff that one of these days I'll put in the middle of a video, so anyone will actually see it. Anyway, here we go. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to click the like button as many times as you have bought a different version of Skyrim, as long as it's an odd number. And let me know in the comments how much you've spent on every version of Skyrim that you own. Did you go over the limit by buying the same version multiple times? If so, why? Oh yeah, also subscribe if you want more videos from me about whatever I happen to make a video about. It could be anything. I typically don't know until I've started writing the script. Alright, the video's pretty much over at this point, but I recorded a little extra bit for all you out there who like pennies. Hey, I was using rounded numbers for this video just because it's easier to show off, but for anyone out there who really likes decimals and pennies, here's the quick math using non-rounded prices. Skyrim, $59.99. Dawnguard, $19.99. Hearthfire, $4.99. Dragonborn, $19.99. Legendary Edition, $59.99. Special Edition, $59.99. Creation Club, $184.95. Switch, $59.99. PC VR, $59.99. PSVR, $59.99. Anniversary Edition, $49.99. Anniversary Edition for the Switch, $69.99. Skyrim the Adventure Game, $297. And since we're still ignoring pinball, that brings us to a true final price of $1,006.84. Goodbye.